Hey, this is Nelly, and you're checking out the Three Count Podcast.
Do you wanna get live with me? Do you really wanna ride with me? I'm in the club, baby, grind on me.
Welcome everyone to another great edition of the Three Count Podcast presents Now Ancient Ring, and I'm your host Clifford Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. And by now, with this being season 5 and our 380 something episode, I would just hope you say it with me. I am your Sherpa because, like your tribal chief, acknowledge me. But like every good Sherpa, you gotta have someone who's been there, done that, and can do it more efficient than you can. And that's why it's never about me. It's about who's entering. So who's entering? You can find this man at DCW, HTW, 1CW, SWO, and Smashmaster. He is the original goon. First letter N, last letter Y, Nelly.
That's a sick intro, dude.
Hey, just making up on the fly.
That's a sick intro. That really fucking rules, dude.
I like to think that I've been around for a long time as far as like age goes, so like I've picked up a lot of like fun shit to be able
That's
to say
crazy,
just at the random.
because you only look 50. So
Yeah,
like,
I know.
that's crazy. No, I'm just kidding. You look
just tapped-
incredible.
That's crazy. I just tapped 51. I'm so glad you said that.
No, for real?
No, absolutely not. I'm actually 38. I am old. I'm 38, but I'm like,
no, dude, dude. You look about 20, 27, 28.
I get that. I get that a lot. Actually, I get that quite a bit. It's really crazy. But yeah, I'm turning 39 this year, so I'm super super. Well, by the time this episode comes out, you guys will have known I've turned 39.
Hell yeah.
So listen, man. So I actually saw your request one time to come on the podcast and be able to talk about stuff, and I immediately reached out and said, "Yeah, bro, like 100% involved. Let's get it." And yeah, man. And come to find out that we have a lot of mutual friends. Which, funny enough, every member of the Goons have been on the podcast.
That's funny. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, every single one of them has been on the podcast.
The only one, shocker.
Yeah, the original, the OG of the Goons. But yeah.
The only one not doing shit.
But no, man. So talk to me. I want to know, like who is Nelly?
Oh man, that's a loaded question. Who is Nelly? I don't know. Nelly is me. I mean, I just like to hang out, have a good time, do whatever my friends need me to do. And just that's pretty much it, honestly. Like, whether it's the person or if it's the wrestler, it's kind of all the same in that sense of just going out. Like, I wrestle now just to have a good time. I go out just because I'm traveling with friends. Like yesterday, I was on the road with Brooke, Eel, and Killian, and it's like I don't even care. Like, I do care about the show, obviously, and I care about the matches that we're in. But what's more important to me right now is just those car rides and those conversations and just hanging out with friends. That's what's become the most important thing for me. So that pretty much is Nelly. Is just, hey, what are the good times? Who are the people we can be around that, have a good time and want to talk and hang out and, shit like that. That's the most important thing for me.
Yeah, I think it's just important in general. Like, if you're not doing something because you love it and have fun with it, like if it becomes a chore, and there's no reason to do it. Like, you do things because you love them, and I value that. I think for me, like I say, getting close to like the 40, I've only been doing this for like 5 years myself. Like, I'm going into my 5th year, and it's like I want to be able to have fun and enjoy the things that I'm doing, the angles that I'm working with, the matches that I'm in, and just come up with the funniest things I could come up with that are just gonna make things look ridiculous even more.
Yeah.
Like, I know, like, for me, one of my favorite things to do, like, even in a match, right? Like, I'll tell everybody about, I do this a grenade spot where, like, I legit throw a grenade up in the air and everybody looks up, and we make it like obnoxiously long,
Yeah.
purposely.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So that everybody's like,
hilarious.
why is he just staring up? How long is it gonna be before this? Oh, there it is.
Yeah. 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 No, that's smart. That's funny.
Yeah, I think about like all the like fun stuff because I mean, like as a kid, like I was a big character fan, right? Like I got that's where I remember. I remember, your Mankind's, your Undertakers, your Stings, right?
Hmm.
The Wolf Pack, right? Kevin Nash doing this thing, right? And Glacier, Wrath, you know, God, Canyon, right? Like all these guys that were just coming out having fun and they were just playing characters. And I thought about it to myself that I was like, I've always enjoyed that and I've always wanted to do that. So I just live that life now.
Yeah, that's funny because like when I first like really started training for the first like year, I was very much like I want to be a wrestler. I want to be like technical and all that. And then I realized, bro, you suck at wrestling. Like you're good at wrestling, but you're not good at like wrestling.
Yeah.
Like I would see people just like training and like I'd go to different spots and like do different little things here and there for, not seminars, but like, hey, there's an open ring sort of thing. And I'm like a year in, I'm like, I'm feeling good, and I'd see like other guys in there and just the things they could do without saying anything. I was like, okay, you're never going to be that. That's not you. And like outside of wrestling, I'm more of like fun, easygoing, just, have a good time, whatever. So it's like, maybe we should get more into the character thing. So then I started doing nothing in the ring. Maybe a move here and there, but mostly it's like headlocks, chirping the crowd, um, simple shit. Just getting the baby face over because I was always bad. I come out in a Canadian singlet with a Canadian flag. Well, I used to. So like, you're always going to be the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
So like, it was so easy to just get heat that way. So yeah, I always just went towards like at first again, being the wrestler, and I had someone tell me backstage, they're like, you want to be what they say, they're like, you want to be Dynamite Kid, and I was like, I don't know, and they're like, yeah, you ain't shit, and I was like, oh, okay. I guess I fucking suck, dude. I guess I'm terrible. So I was like, all right. So right then I was like, you got to transition and like still be good at wrestling, but more character. Like now I come out with Brad the puppet, Brad Suits. I get more heat now than I did as a Canadian. And it's like, it's 10 times more fun because I'm yelling at fans, calling them silly. And that, hey, Killian and I take this thing very seriously. What you're doing is silly. And I'm doing, it's not me saying it. It's Brad the puppet saying it. And that's what makes it like,
Yeah.
perfect. It's just so much fun.
It's always fun to be able to add things and like do things that would like irritate people. I know for me, something that I've been doing on the backside, and you guys will see this soon when I finally decide to use it. I've been learning French,
Oh, hell
and
yeah.
been learning French, and then I've been learning American Sign Language, with the aspects of just being able to make fun of people in French and make fun of people in sign language. Like if I have a deaf person in a crowd and that person is like not understanding anything, then I can just switch it up and be like, "Oh, I see you're deaf. Do you sign?"
The
Be
sign
like,
language is hilarious.
and then when they be like, "Yeah," I'm gonna be like, "Good, like you suck."
Dude, the sign language is perfect because if you do get a deaf person in the crowd and you sign something,
Yeah,
and the deaf person's like, nah.
I'm not getting a reaction. And then if that one person is pissed, everybody else will be like, "Yo, what is he saying to? Why is he so
Yeah.
mad?" Like,
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
yo,
I like that a lot.
I thought like, yo, that would be great as a heat magnet. Yo, no, everybody in this building can catch it if if you're speaking. Well,
French
everyone
is like
catching it.
French is hilarious if you're like in the U.S. because they're gonna hate it no matter what.
Oh,
You say anything in another language, they're gonna be like, "What the
100%.
fuck, dude?"
Yeah.
Don't say that shit. And you're like, what?
And
Yeah.
the thing is like I speak Spanish fluently already, and so to be able to just
Oh.
add another language in there and just and I thought about like when Cesaro first started, right? Like Cesaro was saying, a thing in 5 different languages just because he could,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought about how funny that was because the crowd hated him because he was so smart,
So
and I was like,
talented. Yeah.
yeah, and I was like, oh, bro, that's cheap heat, like yo,
Yeah. Just
and I'd
being
love to be
good.
able, yeah, I'd love to be able to go to Canada and just be like, all you Canadians all you French Canadians up here, je m'appelle Rushen. Who the fuck are y'all?
I took
Just
I took French in high school for 3 years, and the only thing I know is "Est-ce que je peux aller aux toilettes?" And as far as I know, that means "Can I use the restroom?" or "May I use the restroom?" And the only reason I don't know anything else is because I asked that all the time and went to the bathroom and just never went back to class. Shocker.
no.
Shocker.
The two main things I know how to say right is je m'appelle Rushen, which is my name is Red Dog,
I remember
and
Je
then
m'appelle. Yeah.
and then the other thing I know how to say is "Ablen du fromage," which is cheese omelet.
I know what
and
you
I
be ordering.
and I know that because Dexter's Laboratory taught me that.
Oh, for real? That's funny.
There's a whole episode about, so some of you who are new to this and some of you who are old to this know this. But yeah, there's a whole episode of Dexter's Laboratory where like he wants to learn French, but he doesn't have enough time to study, so he goes to bed with this recorder on his head, and the record skips, or the tape skips, and it just plays. It's just like cheese omelet, omelette du fromage, omelette. So the next morning he wakes up and that's all he can say is omelette du fromage. So he like signs like record deals and he's like speaking to people like in different languages, and the only thing he can't do is get back into his laboratory, which is the only thing he wants to do when his laboratory explodes.
Dude, what an episode. That's so
It's such an
funny.
awesome episode.
I don't remember that, but like, because I watched Dexter's Laboratory, but I don't like remember certain episodes or shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would go back and watch all of Dexter just to get to that episode and be like, oh, here we go, dude.
Dog, there's a whole part where like this guy's like, all right, I'm gonna beat you up, and he's like, I'm gonna do fromage, and he was just like, oh my god, you're a French kid, or you're a foreigner, I can't beat you up in America. And then like there's like two girls, they're like, Dexter, you know French, that's the language of love, say it again. And then he's like, blend you
Okay.
fromage.
I've seen that clip. Okay, yeah, I know. Okay, I've definitely seen that clip.
That whole episode is just fire.
That's funny as fuck.
But yeah, I thought, I was like, yo, how great would it be to be able to learn another language and speak that language and make fun of people in their native
Yeah.
language,
Oh
like in
yeah.
their hometown. Like, bro, I'm sitting in Paris, like, je m'appelle Rushen, ablen du fromage, and then someone just be like, why is he saying that his name's Red Dog and that he wants a cheese omelet? Like, it doesn't make no sense. Like,
Yeah, but you point at him and you say it
ablen
angrily.
du fromage.
They're like, hey, this guy's pissed about omelets. I don't know.
He really does not like cheese omelets right now.
I don't like this guy now.
Yeah, I think about those random things that could happen, or like be like I get, or I want like the job, right? Just be like
Yeah.
your job, like whatever. Like I'll figure it out.
Sign language is cool as fuck. I think that could actually like really, really work.
Yeah.
Like if you sign at a crowd and like, and then you grab the mic and you're like, are you guys too stupid to understand sign language or something like that? That would legit be so fucking funny because other people would look up like what you said and be like, holy shit. It wouldn't be like an immediate reaction. It'd probably be like a month down the road where people would be like, I know what you said and I'm pissed. And you're like, bet, wait till you say what I say tonight.
Well, I got the idea from Chris Statlander because she's always talk about, she'll be like mom is home.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's always like signing, and that's what a lot of people don't realize. But then like saw there was a receiver for Seattle, the Seahawks. His name is DK Metcalf, and
I love Metcalf, dude.
So Metcalf was getting in trouble for saying stand all business. They were fining him every single time, so he learned to go, which is stand on business and sign. Yeah. I was like, hey, actually, that's a really neat idea. I was like, I might have to steal that. And then I saw Chris, who is fluent in sign language, like do it, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this too. Be like, No, I'll be
Yeah,
like,
why not?
my name is Red Dog, bro. Like,
Yeah,
get
yeah, why
out, you
not?
know?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's
But
funny as shit.
yo, what was the moment that got you into pro wrestling? Because you said that you'd been in, you started up like in 2018. I was just curious, like, what, like, because everybody's gonna be like, yo, I was a fan of pro wrestling. I've always been a fan of pro wrestling, right? But more importantly, there had been a moment that was like this, and then you're like, all right, I'm gonna go do this.
That's funny because I was never. I mean, I was big into pro wrestling when I was like a kid, and then I completely like grew out of it, so to speak. So I was like, you know, I don't really follow wrestling. I don't care. And by kid, I mean like from like 5 to 11. I was like, wrestling is the coolest thing ever. Um, and then between like 11 and 8, 17 maybe, I was like, I don't care about wrestling like at all. Like I've grown out of it.
Yeah.
And then I met Dust in high school, and I kind of started watching wrestling a little bit here and there. It was kind of piquing my interest a little bit. It was like 2015, and it was like 2014, 2015. It was like kind of piquing my interest again, and I was like, kind of into wrestling a little bit again. Maybe, maybe not. Like I wasn't following it hard, but I was kind of like, hey, I saw this and this, but I didn't know like storylines or anything like that. Um, and then Dust and I had English senior year together, and I knew his name was Dust, and I was sitting by a friend of mine, and Dust walked in, and we didn't even really know Dust, but we knew he liked wrestling, and we also kind of like liked wrestling as kids, but not as teenage. You know, we were too cool as teenagers to like seniors in high school. We don't like wrestling, dude. So Dust walks in, and we'd never talked to him. And he walks in, and we're like, "Hey, Dusty Rhodes, baby," and we're like, kind of bullying him in a sense, like kind of making fun of him.
Yeah.
And Dust just like drops a bionic elbow on an invisible person and sells the whole thing and does this whole thing. And I was like, dude, that guy's the funniest dude I've ever met in my life. And just immediately became best friends with him. And we just started watching every pay-per-view together after that and like hanging out all the time. And it was like 2018. So like 3 years later, um, I went to Margarita Monday at a Texas Roadhouse. Went to Margarita Monday like every week. Margarita Monday with my bro from hockey. We'd get boneless wings because they were cheap, and margaritas for like $3 a pop. So we get like a shit ton, way too many margaritas and a bunch of boneless wings, and just have a good time. And I came home from Margarita Monday one night, and I was feeling good. And there was somebody that I knew in the area that wrestled, and I was drunkenly like, I just Instagram messaged him. I'm like, hey, I want to wrestle. How'd you get your start? Where do I, whatever? And he's like, okay, bet, perfect. I just had training tonight. We train Wednesday. You can come with me Wednesday. And I'm like, no, I want to get into like better shape, which is funny, before I want to wrestle and do all that. And he's like, no, just come to training and you'll be fine. And I'm like, okay, fine. I agree to that. So Tuesday comes along, and I'm like, oh my God. You know when you look at like drunk messages, and it's like typically like a chick or somebody, and you're like, oh, I saw like this dude about wrestling. I was like, oh my God, I have to go do this now. And I kind of forced myself, like, okay, you just have to, like, you can't back out now. This is something you want to do. You just got to do it. Yeah. So Wednesday came around, I went, and I met great people. I met Killian there. I met A.K. Willis there, Rob Radke, Jason Andrews. Like, we all trained, and yeah, that's how I got my start. And then a few months later, I told Dust, I was like, you got to come to training with me. And he's the most like, yeah, I'll do that, and then just like won't text you back the day of. So, but he did come, which was nice. He did come, and the rest is history, pretty much. It was yeah, it kind of just, it felt like it happened like that, like just snap of a finger, it just happened. So it was a lot of fun.
It's funny because I remember meeting Killian for the first time, and where I met Killian at was actually at my trainer's place. They came to film a match with Phil Stamper
Oh yeah.
for it was the it was like at one point like Killian was getting waterboarded. Uh,
Oh yeah.
so I was
You know
there.
who
I
came
was
up with that spot?
who
Me. I swear to God.
I was there. I was there that day that they did the match, and like Dust and him were like hitting a rake, and a rake was hitting him in the face. Like I was there for all of that, and I was like,
Yeah.
I really can't wait to get in a ring and to be able to do shit like this. And I was like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, I
And
remember coming up with. I remember we came up with that like a whole idea because that was like pandemic era, right?
yep,
Yeah, yeah. Because we shot. There's a shot in that cinematic where there's like an egg flying through like the air. I remember shooting like stuff like that at dusk. I accidentally hit Killian with an egg during that shoot, accidentally on purpose. I threw it up in the air near his direction, and I didn't realize like it would actually hit him. And I was like, "Oh shit, this is actually gonna work." And I hit him. I was like, "My bad." But I remember shooting like all that. But I remember Killian and I talked about like a month before. I was like, it'd be funny if like somebody got waterboarded, like me, if I got waterboarded with like Four Locos.
yeah,
Because I'm sponsored by Four Loco. Shout out, big plug. I was like, it'd be funny if I got waterboarded in a match with Four Locos, but then I'd kind of like stopped wrestling at that point. So they did the waterboard thing, in that, and I was like, well, that works. That works too. That's
yep.
fine. But yeah, no, I get that. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun to watch because like if you watch in the background of that match, like there's a bunch of people like just training and doing like chain wrestling, and I'm right there. Like
Oh hell yeah.
I'm the guy just sitting in the back chaining while these guys are like, no, I'm so sorry. No, I'm so sorry. Like, Phil, forgive me. And he's just getting waterboarded. I was like, yo.
Killian had a shaved face at the time. He looked crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
No like facial hair. I was like, ugh.
And now I look at him back and I'm like, bro, like it's a whole different person. And I remember like talking to him, even when I had him on the podcast, like he's always had a beard. But when I went back and watched that match again recently, and I was like, oh yeah, he was clean shaved.
Yeah, I don't know why he clean shaved for that. I really don't. I think he was just trying something, and it was like, nah, it's not working. It's not working.
Grow that beard back, always. Yeah. That's funny though. Well, seeing that you've been in for a few years, I just want to know, like, what's the worst bump you've taken?
Worst bump I've taken. I don't know. I mean, it's between like getting chokeslammed by somebody really tall, which happens a lot, because it always, no matter what, it's always gonna suck. And it's like you just gotta, all right, this is gonna suck. It's gonna knock the wind out of you. You just gotta take it. It's either that or like I took a power bomb to the floor off the apron, but like I don't know that. I mean that sucked, but I feel like sometimes I take. I'm always down. Like if there's a bigger guy, I'm like chokeslam. If they want to chokeslam, I'm like I'll take chokeslam. I'll get up. I'll do whatever you want. And I get up and I look around as I'm up, and it feels like it's 30 seconds. I'm looking around. I'm like, oh my God. I'm so high up. And oh my God, why did I do this? And then I go down and I'm like, I haven't hit yet. Oh my God, I'm still so high up. And then I hit and I'm like, Jesus Christ, that hurts so bad.
I remember the first like real chokeslam bump I took, right? I was doing a spot it was in a battle royale, and my boy Tiberius was like chokeslamming everybody.
Ashanti?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So he like hits everybody with these chokeslam spots, right? And we never even called it. I just walked up to him and just put my hand like on his throat, and I'm like, yeah, I got you. I was like, yeah, go ahead. He just like, he puts me in that. It just goes straight up. Yeah, and I remember like hitting the ground. I was like, oh yeah, that sucks a whole lot.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's dude. You get like big guys in there, and he's a big guy. Like you get up, and you're like, this is way higher than like I kind of thought of. Especially when
Yeah.
you post, and you're like, oh, I'm up here. Like you just take a bump, and you're like, yeah, it. You know, you feel it, but you're fine, whatever. And then
Yep.
you're like, yeah, choke slam, I'll be fine. And you get up, and you're like, oh, yep, I'm up here.
Yep.
Yep,
Yeah, it's a
this
good
is gonna
fall.
suck. This is gonna suck. And then
One
you
of my
hit,
other
but you're fine.
Yeah, one of my other bumps I take, because I like hitting a good dojo bump and like showing it off. But I always tell my friends like if they're gonna hit me with like a rock bottom or like the booking or even like a uranagi, like
Mm-hmm.
I'll jump for you, but please don't lose me. I was like, I was like, though I may be old, I have a lot of springs in my leg, and like I will jump and I will get up and you will lose me. And then I'll fall on my side and it will hurt like hell on my shoulder. So I was like, please don't lose me. And I've had 3 people lose
Oh,
me mid up, and they're like,
yeah,
they don't expect it, but then I hit, and then like something like rotates wrong, and I'm just like my shoulder or like my hip will rotate funny. I'm like, come on, man, like,
yeah,
uh, it's like,
yeah. I mean, yeah, shit like that. Like you gotta trust the guy, and like if they have a hold of you, you know, for that particular spot, in my opinion, it's like you gotta have a hold of them
yeah,
and not really let go until like last. Like you gotta make sure they're like flat. Like you're up. Like if you're posting on my shoulder, like and putting you up, you post on my shoulder, and we're coming down. I'm still holding you. And then like right before you're down, it's like, okay, I'll let go. You take your own bump, you do your own thing, but you know, you want to make sure they're all right.
yeah.
You know, yeah, it's crazy that they let you go.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's because like they don't. Like, so I mean, let's be real. Like, I mean, for everybody who's watching this, they see that I'm very light skinned. But the thing is, it's like I just blow people's mind because like I got some springs for looking like a, I don't want to say a bigger dude, but just not looking like an average. It's just like an
You got
average dude,
hops,
I
bro.
guess. Yeah, and I got hops, and
Yeah,
people just it freaks them out like when I
they're
can
not ready
jump.
for it.
No, no one's ever ready because they're like, yeah, whatever, man. I've taken, I've hit this
That
move.
see that's I was gonna say that's the problem. Is like you're coming up like, by the way, I have hops. I will get up, and people are like, yeah, yeah, sure, sure. And it's like, no, I need you to listen to me right now. I'm going to get up, and they're like, "Yeah, dude, I'm the shit. I'm fine. I'm good. Like, I got you." And they don't have you, and it's like, I tried to tell you, you know, yeah, that sucks.
And even with my friends, they're all like, yeah, hey, So one of my friends, it happened with one of my friends the first time, and he understood. And since then, like he's always known, like, hey, yo, I gotta hold on to him. So he does. But the first time it happened, my boy was like, hey, I want to hit somebody with a bookend, and one of my friends was like, yo, get Red Dog to do it because like he can jump for you and he'll jump for you, and he was like, yeah, I'll do that. And I was like, yeah, please, just I will jump for you, but just please hold on to me. And he was like, okay, yeah, I got you, I got you, I got you. And then as I go up, I felt this all of a sudden, like instead of just being here, it was here. And I was like, oh God, this got hurt. And like all my friends that were watching the match that night were like, bro, you got so high on that jump. I was like, I know.
Yeah, I
And
know. Don't
even
remind me.
yeah, and then even my friend was like, bro, I didn't know you was gonna get that high. It's like I'm out in the crowd. I'm already like amped up to 1,000,000 because like the crowd is like getting me like hyped, right?
Yeah,
And then you pick me up and you throw me up. Yeah, of course I'm overly hyped, bro. Like
yeah,
I'm already a hyperactive person. Like, please. Like
yeah,
everything else just explodes too. I'm like, we're just going down.
yeah. Honestly,
Oh man, but yo, let me ask you this other question because you did get out the game for a little bit, and I'm assuming there's a lesson that had been learned in this. But what is the hardest lesson that you've had to learn being in the business?
um, that's funny because the hardest lesson I ever had to learn has really nothing to do with wrestling. It has everything to do with, you know, your friends and your personal life is the hardest thing I ever had to learn. Wrestling's easy. Making towns is easy. Getting paid, doing a match, that's the easiest thing in the world. It's so easy. Genuinely, really is. Um, the hardest thing I had to do was and it's explained in the doc that's coming out September 15th. What's the channel? On Dustin's channel, Being 500. And then also Killian's channel, mid-October. The documentary comes out there too. The biggest thing for me was like being a good friend and being like, because like the goons themselves were just friends. Like, yeah, is it a wrestling faction kind of like whatever? Absolutely. But it all came about because we're all just friends, best friends in real life. Me, Eel, AK, Saul, Miles, Dust. You know, not Rob anymore, but Rob. You know, in real life, Rob, yes, but in Goon, you know, Rob, no. But yeah. Rob, we're all just best friends in real life, and we all just love each other and want to do good. And that was the hardest lesson I ever learned in wrestling, was like I was letting my friends down in wrestling by not being there for them in wrestling, because in real life I was struggling. And in real life, I was not doing the things I needed to do to be there for them, and much more be there for myself, which in turn let them down. And it just, it's all in the doc, which is crazy. It's crazy that it was all filmed, because it's some of the most like, I don't know, like raw footage, I guess you could say, like the most genuine reactions that because there's footage that I've seen of them talking about me where it's just so genuine, and it hurts. It really does. Like, I'm like, damn. And I feel so bad for letting them down like that. But that was the hardest lesson I had to learn in wrestling, was just, you know, be a good person and take care of your friends that got you to the dance and helped you get there, because it's not all about you. And I never wanted it to be, but I don't know. I just went through things, and you know, they were there for me, but I wasn't there for them, and it sucked. But it's all in there, in the doc coming up here soon.
It's one of those things where like you kind of have like sometimes. So it's funny. I talk about this. I've talked about this a couple times on the show, right? Where it was a lesson I learned from a dude. Actually, it was crazy enough at this college. His name was Senor Chocolate, and he used to say, "A wise man or a foolish man learns from their mistakes, while a wise man learns from the mistakes of others." And what he meant was, as a kid, your mom always tells you not to touch the stove because the stove is hot. So what do? You touch the stove, right? And then you get your hand burnt. And then your mom beats you, right? Or spanks you, whatever. I don't care. Anyway, so that happens. But your little brother learned a lesson. Don't touch the stove because I will get a butt whooping and my hand will hurt. And that's like the lesson. So sometimes I think in life, like you have to learn the tough lessons the tough way. Like you could avoid some lessons by learning what other people have done. But it's also important that sometimes you kind of just have to get burned by the flame. And kind of sounds like that's what happened with you.
Oh, you just got to go through it. Like I mean, there's no other way. Like your friends have to look at you and be like, dude, you genuinely need to get your shit together. And if you don't, I don't want to talk to you anymore. And it's like, this isn't a wrestling thing. This is real life. Like I'm talking to the real life Dustin, and he's talking to the real life Chris. And it's like, this is crazy. Like, but I totally understand like where he's coming from. Like you can only let someone down so many times before they're like, dude, I can't risk it anymore. You're hurting me.
Yep.
You're hurting yourself, but you're hurting me. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. So it took a lot. I mean, it was really hard to get through. But we got through it, you know. It's a battle every day, but it's 100 times better than it was, you know, maybe eight months ago, something like that. Probably 8 to 12 months ago.
Yep.
Like it's a totally different game. I feel like I've been closer with my friends now than I ever was. and it's all because they were like, dude, if you can't do this, then we can't be friends. Like they can't take on that burden anymore, and I totally understand that. So yeah, it's been a journey, and all that. It's so crazy that all that happened in real life. As Dust got 500, I was also going through this crazy thing, and it's all documented, and it's all in the film. So like Dust is obviously in being 500. He's like it's about being 500. You know, we got Vinny Lee Glamrock, we got Shockwave, Joe Rules, Timmy Lou Retton. We got like a bunch of old 500s like in the doc and talking about being 500, and Dust challenging all these people to different matches, and you know that's its own story. But the B plot is also the struggle with me, because like I'm trying to support Dust and he's trying to be my friend, but in real life I'm going through like this, you know, this shit. I'm going through a really tough time in my personal life, and it's just all documented. And it's like part of me didn't want to, part of me like a year ago when I was really going through it, when it got to the worst it's ever been, I almost was like, I don't want to be in this documentary anymore. Cut me out completely. I'm done. Like, I don't want to do this, because I was so, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I was so defensive, and I was like, I don't want anybody to see me like that. And I don't like, because I was still in the thick of it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. Like, I haven't talked to you guys in 2 weeks, which is crazy because we talk every day. So not to talk to any of them for like 2 weeks was like, I guess we're not friends anymore kind of thing. And yeah, it got real close for me to just be like, no, I'm done. I don't want to, take me out of it. If you put me in it, I'm going to be pissed. I don't know what I can do. I would never do anything legally, but like, I don't want to be in it. Don't put me in the through line. Don't put me as a B plot. Nothing. I don't want to be in this at all. Do whatever else. I'm not in it. And then we all talked, and we all made up, and we were all good, and I got, a lot better. And I'm like, it hurts to look at when I look at the old footage, because I know what I'm seeing, and I'm like, that guy's in a lot of pain, and he's hurting, and he's going through shit. But you just kind of got to get through it, and you're like, look, you went through that, but you're better now, and you're doing the best shit you've ever done now, and you're closer with your friends than you've ever been. So yeah, it's been a whirlwind. It's definitely been a whirlwind.
I mean, that's good too, because like, it's what they say, and you keep mentioning the word fire, man. Like, fire can destroy or fire can forge. You know what I mean? And it sounds like to me, like, with your friendship, like obviously it's kind of forged itself a little bit tighter, which is good. Like, it's what you want. You want those good friends who have like been through the thick and thins with you, right? And it's great to hear that you've been through the roughest part, and that like your friends are there to still bail you out, and that's amazing.
Yeah, no, they've been the best friends like in the entire world. And like they weren't even there, like they were there to bail me out until it was like, we've bailed you out enough. You have to do this yourself. And if you don't expect to see us on the other side. Yeah. And that was the biggest, like, okay, you have to do this yourself. And once I got that like through my head, I was like, bet. And yeah, no, it's been crazy. But September 15th, Totally Okay Productions, that whole documentary comes out, and I can't wait to watch it and look at myself and go, oh geez, oh god, look at this guy, he's going through a lot. But there's a really good story going on in there, and Dust got some really good matches out of it, and there's a lot of good footage and interviews, again, like Vinny Lee, Timmy Lou Retton, Joe Rules, like old 500s.
Yeah,
like a lot of good interviews, and they're all like the sweetest people. Shockwave, they're very sweet people.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. I can't wait to check it out either. Yo, we're gonna move this to my favorite part of the 3 Count podcast, which is the 3 Count podcast 10 count questions. And Mr. Nelly, this is how it works. I'm gonna fire off 10 questions at you rapid fast, and whatever your answer is, that is your answer.
I'll bet. Okay. Fast money.
Yeah, so we're gonna put on the imaginary timer for added pressure. Bing! And in the words of my favorite play-by-play commentator, Mike Goldberg, here we go. SmackDown or Raw?
SmackDown.
Favorite cartoon?
SpongeBob.
Let's see if we could piss off Killian. Mario or Sonic?
Sonic.
Oh, good. He won't be that mad. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Pulp Fiction.
Let's go. Waffles or pancakes?
I'm a pancake guy.
Okay. Favorite TV show?
SpongeBob.
Marvel or DC?
Ooh, Marvel.
Favorite podcast?
Spittin' Chicklets.
I like it.
Other than this one, obviously. Come on.
I like it. Nominate one person you want to see on this podcast.
Nominate what?
Nominate one person you want to see on this podcast.
Oh. You said you already got all the goons?
Everybody.
Did you get Tommy Vex?
No, not yet.
Tommy Vex, dude. Or Zach Xander.
Zach Xander has been on this podcast.
Oh, okay, all right.
Long time homie.
Dude, love Zach. All right, Tommy Vex then.
Okay, I'll tell you a story after about Zach.
Dude, I got a story too.
So, last question I love to ask every single person that comes on this podcast: favorite curse word?
Fuck.
It's like it's gotta be. It's like the only word.
Easy. It's the best one.
100%. 100%. But yeah, that's all my questions I have. So the last thing I need you to do is let our listeners and our viewers know where they can find you.
You can find me at Nelson __ 2 underscores because sick, very original. Nelson __ Bauer on Twitter and Instagram. The most important thing is check out my Twitter, the Shooter KM, Killian McMurphy on Twitter, and Big Dust on Twitter and Instagram for both of those to check out updates on the Being 500 trailers dropping soon, documentaries dropping in about a month. So be on the lookout for that, and we're going to have a good time.
Bet. Well, he gave you all his handles. We even told you guys about the new documentary that's coming out. And then, you know what that means. Like every great part of a wrestling match, we got to take this home. Because this is a 3 Count podcast presents Now Entering. And I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Murder, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. And like always, every Sherpa's got to have another Sherpa who's been there, done that, and can do it more efficiently than you can. That's why it's never about me. It's about who's entering. So who's entering? You see the man right there, Nelly himself. And you guys know what to do. Tune into the next episode and be there, or you're legitimately follow us on all of our social media platforms. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel. You're even checking us out on Spotify. You're listening to us on Amazon Music, and even that app with the dumb jingle that goes iHeartRadio or whatever it is it goes like. You're checking out all of our merch on foryourwear.com, or you're even checking out our merch on prowrestlingtees.com. Tell your mom about us. Tell your dad about us, your aunties, your uncles, your cousins, your brothers, your sisters, your best friends, and your enemies, because we love haters too. You're doing all that stuff, or really you're just kind of waiting for this episode to end. You're waiting for the outro, and then you're choosing another episode to listen to. Kawaii. What's going on? It is Clifford Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. And what we need from you guys is to kind of show some support, right? We want you guys to go to our YouTube channel at the 3 Count Podcast, go on to our Twitch channel, 3 Count Pod, or even our Facebook page, 3 Count Podcast, and just give us a like, follow, subscribe, even give us a comment, right? Do all that cool stuff. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with your enemies, right? Or you can even come talk to us and just chat us up, right? Find us on Twitter at 3Count_pod. Find us on IG and on TikTok at 3Count Pod. Go ahead and leave us those comments. We want to hear from all of you guys. We're going to keep putting on videos and stuff like that. We want to keep making this content better, so we want your guys' support. Also, if you guys want to, go support us at prowrestlingtees.com/the 3Count Podcast, or even find us on foryourwear.com. Give us the support. Show us your guys' love, because we want to give it right back to y'all. So, in the meantime, love y'all.